together and say, have a good weekend, and remember the code of conduct. How about this one? Something earth-shattering has happened, and you run to your best friend seeking sympathy. And she says, that's nothing. Listen what happened to me.
Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
of music from Zimbabwe, from a tribe of people there called the Shona people. And that was a Shona tune called Nuzu. And this next one is an original tune called No Name.
Well, I'm going to say some words. I want you to say the words back to me. The first phrase is Maimbo, Maimbo Mama. Maimbo, Maimbo Mama. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. So the whole thing is Maimbo, Maimbo Mama, Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Okay? Okay, I'll sing a phrase. I want you to sing it back, okay? Maimbo, Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo. Yeah. Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe. Same thing. I'll sing first. Maimbo, Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo. Yeah. Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe. I'll do the whole thing. Maimbo, Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Maimbo, Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Again. Maimbo. Any harmony? Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Maimbo, Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe. Harmony. Gombe. One more time. Maimbo, Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Maimbo, Maimbo, Mama. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Again. Maimbo, Maimbo, Mama. Stop. Maimbo, Kaki Lambe, Gombe. Yeah. I'm Michael Marsala, part of the Drum Brothers, and I want to introduce, hey guys. We're getting it together over here. I'm going to introduce part of the group, we're going to introduce each other. The Drum Brothers are on the right, over here is my father, David Marsala. Hey. The latest addition to Drum Brothers, and the guy that did the big mural painting over at St. Joseph's, Casey Malton. And my brother Matthew Marsala.
Michael Marsala.
Yes.
Starkey. Patricia Ryan Gorman. Greg Frazier. And Doug Lewis.
David Simeone.
Yeah. We are honored, all of us drummers are honored to have in our midst tonight dancers from Polson, and led by Co Carew, who's a choreographer and dancer. Let's give her a hand. And
These drummers from Bill Stark all the way down, also are from Polson, Montana. And with us we have Karen Celine.
all right, we're going to do a drum and dance now from Guinea. This is Forcoba. It's a social dance. It's a dance for fun done at the end of the day, after you've had lots of fun all day.
Miller time.
Yeah, that's right. After all I've been working, gathering water, feeding, eating, it's time to dance and have fun. This is is what they do. It's called fork building.
a traditional dance from the West African country of Guinea. And it's Kokoban is a dance that celebrates the activities of daily life. The working and resting and eating and creating that goes on every day. And it's also a celebration of the interrelatedness between the people and the drum, and how the drum rhythms help give the people strength and energy to go about the tasks of daily life.
let go of. And this is really, really similar to African traditions. It's really similar to Native American traditions. I'm Apache from the Tadascan clan, and so it's like, how does this fit for me? And the drum, it has a language, and the dancer connects with the drum, and the drum connects to the dancer. And so, part of going to the powwow, sometimes I go there and say, okay, I'll be there 15, half an hour, one or two fried breads, and I'll be out of there. But what happens is that you just start really connecting to the beat of the drum, to the heartbeat, and to creating a connection with Mother Earth. And so that's how it is real similar to me. And I talk to the elders too, and to make sure that I'm saying the things that I should be saying. And the drum is the circle, it reminds us that it's a circle of life, and it's always a continual, no beginning and no ending, like our own lives. And as we see people pass on, we have other spirits come back to us. Or the other thing is that we dance. We dance for people who have passed away and connect them with the drum, and we connect them with our spirit. So they just moved on to another world, but we keep them in our feet, and we dance for the elders who passed away, and we dance for the old people who can no longer dance, and we dance for you. And I love that Indian proverb, or it's not Indian, it's African proverb. It says, if you can walk, you can dance, and if you can talk, you can sing. I really like that. So this next dance I'm going to do is the Panther Dance. And this is in memory of my great-grandmother, her name is Eyes of the Panther. And it's for my grandmother, who keeps that spirit alive within her still. And for my mother, who teaches me how to walk the earth in a good way. And for my younger sister, Michaela, who's dancing tonight, who embraces it all fully.
Trying to make a circle around here.
No.
Trying to find Jen.
Talking to that dog.
Attempting to find. Oh God, I'll go find her.
What a nice camera you have.
It takes me. It's like, whoa. That's too far.
You don't even smoke and you can't make it up there.
Hey. Okay.
The lights parts of skating on ice.
Oh, it must be those little lighted up, those little rings that go.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I don't like my parents' music. It's too down home, folksy. It's just not my style. But there's this one song, and I forget the name of it, and I forget who wrote it. But there's this line, and it goes, "The worst of men must fight, and the best of men must die." Those words never had any profound meaning until I met Troy. Troy's family and mine met on a horseback riding trip 2 summers ago. There was Troy, his parents, and his younger sister, Christy, who is 2 years older than I am. That week was filled with laughter. We would sit around the campfire at night laughing at Troy's mother as she tried to convince someone to play Fluffy Bunny with her. You know the game. You stuff jet-puffed marshmallows in your mouth and say, "I'm a fluffy bunny," until you puke. No one ever wanted to play. At the end of the week, we all hugged and said goodbye, and over the next year and a half, Christmas cards and letters were exchanged. About a year ago, I received a package from the Carr family. It was a photo album. It was filled with pictures. Most of them were from a horseback riding trip. And they all had these little cartoon speaking, talking bubbles stuck onto them with funny sayings in them. There was one of Troy, sitting on his horse going, "You're so sexy." And there was one of Christy, with this stupid grin on her face, going, "I smile like this to keep people wondering." And then there was one of my dad, unshowered and unshaven for 4 days, going, "Maybe I should pose for the centerfold." And then there was one of Christy cheerleading, and one of Christy graduating from high school. And then there was one of Troy, graduating from the University of North Carolina with a degree in criminal justice. And then there was one of Christmas, 1993. That picture had so much joy in it. And there will never be another one like it. About 6 months ago, I received another package from the Carr family. Thinking it would be another photo album with funny pictures and candid sayings, I ripped it open. But inside there are several newspaper articles. The first one had a big picture of Troy on it, on the day that he was sworn in as an agent for the North Carolina Department of Alcohol Law Enforcement. He looked so proud. When I read the caption underneath that picture, it was like being punched in the stomach. It said, Troy Douglas Carr was tragically killed on May 14th, 1994. He was 24 years old. And there will never be another Christmas. One of the requirements of Troy's job was to go into bars, and when people left drunk and started to drive away, he was to pull them over. On May 14th, Timothy Mark Cannon did not want to be pulled over. And when he finally did pull over, he jumped out of his car and started running. So Troy went after him. And by the end of the evening, Troy was lying on some cold slab in the morgue with a tag on his toe. And Timothy Mark Cannon, who was so drunk and so full of LSD, he didn't even know he'd been shot. And it scares me. It doesn't scare me that people run around shooting each other. It doesn't scare me that people run around drunk. And it doesn't scare me that I could be dead before my 25th birthday. What scares me is that the song is wrong. It isn't right. The song says, the worst of men must fight and the best must die. But it's wrong. It should say, the best of men must fight and the worst must live.
If this world is wearing thin and you're thinking of escape, I'll go anywhere with you. Just wrap me up in chains. But if you try to go alone, don't think I'll understand.
You're leaving. You have to. The choice is not yours to make. But if it was, would you still go? No, you'd stay. But still, sometimes I wonder, what would it be like if you could stay? Would we get closer together or farther apart? But we'll never know. Because you're leaving. You have to.
Okay, you have a problem. You've hit a wall, and don't you hate it? People give you the worst advice.
I know, like this one. If at first you don't succeed,
Don't take up skydiving!
oh, you guys, I've heard an even worse one. Think about it tomorrow. After all, tomorrow is another day.
Gone with the Wind?
I just watched
Are
that.
people so
It is.
cute? Oh my God.
I watched that, you guys. The only thing to fear is fear itself.
But what about the public bathrooms?
Ew.
Ladylike.
Well, I never get any bad advice. All the advice I get.
The one I really hate is,
Don't worry, you're just tired. It'll be better in the morning.
no, it won't.
Isn't your palm still there in the morning?
At least it was a learning experience.
Think about something happy.
It doesn't bother me, it shouldn't bother you.
Isn't that what your boyfriend said?
No, actually, it was mine. Thanks for the reminder.
Oh, wait. I have had bad advice. At Thanksgiving, my mom always says, you don't really want to eat. That.
Then why is it at the table? And don't you just love it when your coaches and teachers get together and say, have a good weekend, and remember the code of conduct?
How about this one? Something earth-shattering has happened, and you run to your best friend seeking sympathy! And she says,
That's nothing. Listen what happened to me.
People in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks. You know, good things really do come to those who wait. But when they do, they're out of date.
But there is such a thing as good advice.
Yeah. Stand your ground, but catch what falls around it.
the grass is always greener on the other side until you water your own side.
Well, the best advice I ever got was, he's not worth it.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty close. Watch out for your future. That's where you're going to be spending the rest of your life.
Why not upset the apple cart? If you don't, the apples will rot anyway.
The best advice I ever got was in 8th grade. My teacher said, boys only tease you because they like you. If that's true, then 3/4 of the male population is in love with me.
The way I decide if advice is good or bad is if it's good for me, if it answers my questions. Wow. When I first saw this picture, I saw only my grandmother. But now, as I look at it, I see a strong woman. A woman who had been through it all. A woman I love. Grandma had always seemed like the one person in the world that was the biggest disappointment to see. I was even embarrassed about how little money she had and the little gifts I used to get for birthdays and Christmases, and the packs of carefree gum she used to give us when she came to visit. But when I found out that she had cancer, all of that seemed to change. It didn't matter how much money she had or the gifts I got. What mattered was getting to know the woman I hadn't known for 14 years. I mean, sure, I knew Grandma, but I didn't know Grandma the person. It seemed like through even the little things I got to learn more and more about Grandma. Through her back rubs, I learned about her childhood. Through sponge baths, I learned about her teen years. Somehow, in 3 short months, I got to know someone I hadn't known my whole life. I could still remember that night. Dad and my sister were getting ready to leave Butte to go to Missoula, but Grandma got really bad. Her breaths were so shallow and her heartbeats faint. We all thought this was it. In a way, I was glad. I mean, death for Grandma meant no more pain, no more suffering. But death to me meant losing my grandmother, my new friend. After Dad and my sister left, my mom and I got Grandma ready for bed. It was so odd. Being in a room with someone who just stares off into space, looking right through me. I rubbed lotion on her body, remembering what the hospice nurse had said. You may not always remember what your grandmother looked like or what she sounded like, but you will always remember the feel of her skin or the softness of her hair. Later that night, my aunt went to kiss Grandma goodnight as she was ready for bed, and she soon got my mom. A few seconds later, my mom opened the den door and said to my uncle and I, "It's time." My uncle left immediately, but I just sat there all the time saying over and over in my head, "Time? Time for what, Mom?" I walked into Grandma's room to the 3 of them hugging, and it was then that I realized that Grandma had died, with a stubbornness that was all hers, alone. We washed Grandma's body. It wasn't because she was dirty, it was just our special way of saying goodbye. Then in Catholic tradition, we set the rosary around her bed to candlelight, except for the fact that my aunt only had birthday candles, so it was a rosary by nightlight. The one thing that I'll never forget as long as I live was how beautiful it was when I went to say one last goodbye to her before she was taken away. Moonlight was streaming through her window right onto her face, and I took it as her goodbye to me. When I first saw this picture, I saw only my grandmother. But now, as I look at it, I see a strong woman. A woman who had been through it all. A woman I love.
Anyway, so I wanted to play a song for Little Leaf, and for the spirit of sobriety that I think we're all enjoying tonight. It's a wonderful thing, and I hope it spreads. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this first night. So here's a song for Little Leaf. I'm going to play it on my eagle flute because he flies with the eagles.
Stories, and I'm Carol Soth. I'm a professional storyteller. I tell for the Montana Arts Council. I use story and visual arts to tell about the natural world and environmental education. I also just teach about storytelling as well. But when I was thinking today about what stories would be good, I started thinking about my New Year's resolutions. And one of my New Year's resolutions was to be thriftier, to be not buy so much, to reuse, to buy secondhand. And then I thought of this story. And this is a Jewish folk tale called The Tailor. Back in old Russia, there was a tailor famous for his fine little stitches. People would come from all over the land to buy his coats, and he would cut them out so carefully, and the stitches were so tiny. Well, he sold many coats, but alas, he had none of his own. He was so poor, and so he would go out at night and he would wrap a blanket around him. One day, the wise man of the village came and said, "You know, tailor, you would do very well to make yourself your own coat. It would be wonderful advertising, and people could see your wares." Tailor thought this was good advice. And so he started scrimping and saving and scrimping and saving until he had saved enough for a beautiful piece of cloth. Well, he got it home and he laid it out so carefully, for if he made one mistake, it would be many years until he could save enough money to buy more cloth. And he cut it out very carefully, he sewed it, and when he put it on, oh, did he feel handsome. He looked himself in the mirror this way and this way, and he thought he was just a fine, dashing fellow. Well, he wore that coat. He wore that coat when it was the least bit cold. He put it on in October, and he didn't take it off till May. He wore it, and he wore it, and he wore it, and he wore it, until it was all worn out. Well, at least he thought it was worn out. When he looked at it really carefully, he saw, well, that this piece was good right here, and this piece back here was really good, and then there was a section way in the back that was just fine. And he realized there was just enough to make a jacket. So he cut up the coat, and he sewed it into a fine jacket, and he put the jacket on. Oh, he looked even more handsome than he did in the coat. And he wore it even more. He wore it summer, winter, spring, and fall. He wore it inside and outside. He wore it, and he wore it, and he wore it, and he wore it until it was all worn out. Well, at least he thought it was worn out. But when he looked at it really carefully, he could see that, oh, there was a piece here, and a piece here in the back, and another piece over here. There was just enough to make a vest. And so he cut it out carefully and sewed it up, and when he put on the vest, oh, he looked so handsome. He wore that vest even more than he wore the jacket. I mean, he wore it inside, outside. He even wore it to bed at night. And he wore it, and he wore it, and he wore it, and he wore it until it was all worn out. Well, at least he thought it was worn out. But he looked at it really carefully. He could see that this shoulder piece was good, and that this piece right here under the arm was good, and there was just enough to make a cap. Well, he cut it out, and he sewed it up, and he put on the cap. Oh, he was even more handsome than when he had been with the vest, the jacket, and the coat. And he wore that cap summer, winter, spring, and fall, inside, outside. He even wore it in the bathtub. He loved that hat, and he wore it, 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 until it was all worn out. At least, he thought it was worn out. But when he looked at it, he noticed right here at the crown there was just enough material to cover a button. And so he cut it out, he sewed it on the button, and he sewed the button on his pants. And he loved that button. And he wore it, 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 until it was all worn out. At least he thought it was all worn out. But when he looked at that button, he saw that there was just enough to make a story. And he gave that story to me, and now I give that story to you. Next story I'm going to tell is from the Southwest. It's a Navajo tale told by a Navajo medicine man named Hosteen Claw. And it's called How the Stars Fell Out of the Sky, which ties into my next New Year's resolution about getting outside more at night and in all kinds of weather. How the stars fell out of the sky. Are you all hearing me okay in the back? Long ago in the before time, before your grandparents and your great-grandparents and your great-great-grandparents were born, there was first man and first woman. And they spent their days traveling all over the earth, collecting the stories from the trees and the sky and the soils and the animals and the rivers. They collected the rules, how things work together, how harmony exists on this earth. Now one night, first man and first woman were coming home. The sun was setting and it was getting dark. And first woman said, "You know, first man, we really should be writing these rules down for all the people who will follow us." "Yes," said first man, who greatly admired his wife's wisdom. "That's a wonderful thing to do." "But where shall we write them?" said first woman. Thought first man, "We can write them in the desert sands." "Oh, but when the winds come, they would erase the words." "That's true," said first man. "Let's write them in the waters." "Oh, that wouldn't work," said first woman. "The ripples and the waves would erase them right away." "Well, let's see," he said. And just then they walked right next to the hogan, which is the houses where the Navajos live. And there, right next to the door, was a huge basket of jewel-like stars that the sky god had given as a gift to first woman. "Why don't you take these jewels and write them, the laws, in the blackberry night sky?" said the first man. "Yes," said first woman. And she right then and there went into the house and got her best blanket, gathered up the big basket of stars, and walked out into the warm desert night. She came to a spot and put down her blanket and gently tipped over the basket of stars. There were thousands of stars, millions of stars, and she took one and placed it in the sky, and she took another and placed that in the sky, and another, and then she stood back and looked and then adjusted them because she wanted them to be perfect, for she realized that these laws would keep the people from living in chaos and confusion forever, and she wanted to do it perfectly. Now, First Woman was not alone this night. For up on the hill, crouched behind a mesquite tree, was Coyote. And Coyote was a very, very curious creature. And his curiosity brought him down the hill closer and closer until he was crouched right behind First Woman. And in a voice that sounded like an arrow whistling through the night sky, he said, "First Woman, what are you doing?" And she said, "I'm writing the laws of how everything on the earth works together. I'm writing the rules of harmony." And he said, "May I help you?" And she said yes, and she pointed him to a section of sky and gave him some stars. And Coyote started writing the rules that First Woman, had told him, and he put up one star and another and another. But for every star he put up, there were millions of stars still on the blanket. Now, Coyote is many things, but he is not a patient creature. And so he said to First Woman, "This is going to take forever." And she said, "Yes, this may take the rest of my life. But what job is half as important as writing the laws and rules of how everything works together for all the people who will come?" Think of it. Peasants coming home from the fields at night will look up and see the laws. Women singing their lullabies at night to their babies will see them. And soldiers in distant lands, fearful, will look up and take heart and faith. Well, Coyote went back to his work, and he placed the stars, and he placed another star, and he placed another star. But finally, looking at that huge pile of stars, in a fit of impatience, he grabbed the edges of a blanket and flung the stars into the black ink sky. "Coyote!" wailed First Woman, "what have you done?" For she realized that what Coyote had done could never be undone, and that the people would live in chaos and confusion forever. Coyote slunk away into the night, and First Woman, stayed there and wept. But they say, if you have a great deal of curiosity and a great deal of patience, if you take your favorite blanket out away from the city lights on a warm summer's night and lie down, in amongst the chaos that Coyote created, you can see the tracings of First Woman's laws. And if this story is sweet, take it and pass it on. Thank you. We're done. I need some kid volunteers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
That was a fun story.
Thank you.
That was really a fun story.
Good. Do you want to help me tell another story?
Yeah.
Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me see. Let's see who we have. Let's see if this works. So begins our tale of the enormous turnip. I don't know what this one has to do with my New Year's resolutions. Does everybody know what a turnip is? Do all of you know what a turnip is?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, good. Maybe I need to buy turnips. Maybe that's my resolution. Once upon a time, there was a man who grew glorious vegetables, and he would save the seeds every year to plant for the next year. Well, one year, he collected seeds from a very nice turnip. Oh, it was a beautiful seed. It was rosy colored. It was much different than the others, and he decided next spring he was going to give it special care. And so he went over and he planted the seed, and he weeded it, and he hoed it, and he gave it lots of water, and then he watched it grow. And it grew, and it grew, and it grew into an enormous turnip. Enormous turnip. Well, it came time, and the farmer said, "Oh, I've got to harvest this thing." So he went over and grabbed a hold of some of its leaves. Well, you know what? I think you should just begin. Okay. And he pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled, but that turnip didn't budge. Better do it again. He pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled, but that turnip just didn't move. Oh, He said, how am I going to get this turnip out of here? So he called his wife. He motioned her to come over. And so she grabbed a hold of his waist, and the farmer grabbed hold of the leaves of the turnip, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. That stupid old turnip didn't even move. Now what are we going to do?
What about taking all the dirt off of the turnip?
Well, he didn't think about that. He wasn't as smart as you were. Okay, so then they decided to call daughter. So daughter came, and she held on to the mother's waist, the mother held on to the father's waist, and the father held on to that turnip. He got a good hold of those leaves, and he pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled. That turnip didn't move. Oh, no! We've got to get this turnip out of the ground. Let's call brother. So brother held on to sister's waist, sister held on to mother's waist, mother held on to father's waist, and father grabbed a hold of those turnip leaves, and they gave it all they had. They pulled, come here, and they pulled, and they pulled. No luck. Oh, now what are they going to do? Well, just then, the dog was walking by. And the dog came, and he grabbed a hold of brother's pants. Yes, he did. Okay. And brother held on to sister's waist, sister held on to mother's waist, and mother held on to father's waist, and they gave it all they had. They pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. And that stubborn old turnip just sat there. Well, it looked like that turnip might have to stay in the ground forever. What are we going to do? Well, just then the cat came by. Well, the cat grabbed a hold of... Why don't we move up here a little bit and give some room here? The cat held on to the dog's tail. The dog held on to the brother's pants. The sister held on to the mother's waist. The mother held on to the father's waist. The father held on to the rutabaga leaves, and they pulled. Oh, I'm sorry, turnip. Pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. Oh, they were quite worn out with all this pulling. Well, they'd just given up. Just then, a little mouse came by. And the little mouse said, can I help? And the father said, this is ridiculous. I can't pull it. My wife can't pull it. My daughter can't pull it. My son can't pull it. The dog and cat can't help me pull it. How are you, a little twerpy little mouse, going to be any help? Well, wouldn't hurt to try. So the mouse grabbed hold of the cat's tail. The cat held on to the dog's tail. The dog held on to the little boy's waist. The little boy held on to his sister's waist. The sister held on to the mother. The mother held on to the father. The father grabbed a hold of those leaves, and they pulled, and it budged. And they pulled, and it budged a little more, and they pulled until it popped right out of the ground. Well, they were delighted. The father wheeled the turnip all the way to the county fair. He won the first prize, and they ate turnip pie, even the mouse, all winter long. Can you all see what this is? I hold it in the light maybe here. It's a glass earth. And if the earth were a ball a few feet in diameter, floating above a field somewhere, people from everywhere would come to marvel at it. They'd marvel at the bumps on it, and the holes in it, and the big pools of water, and the little pools of water, and the water connecting the big pools and the little pools. They'd be in awe of the thin layer of gas with suspended water that surrounded it. They would wonder at all the creatures in the water and on the land. They would hold it as sacred because they knew it was the only one. They would come to it to pray, to be healed, to know beauty, to gain knowledge, and to wonder how this thing could be. And they would protect it with their very lives, for they would know that their own lives, their own roundness, had everything to do with this. That is, if the earth were a ball a few feet in a diameter, floating above a field somewhere. Happy 1995. Thanks for being a great audience. You were a good listener. You were really a good listener.
Story, huh?
Yeah.
cowboy. He weren't much to look at, just a free rambling man. That was a long time, no matter how I tried. The years just flew by like a broken down dam. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. Believe in this living is just a hard way to go. There's flies in the kitchen. I can hear them in their buzzing. And I ain't done nothing since I woke up today. How the hell can a person go to work in the morning, come home in the evening, and have nothing to say? Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old road. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go. All hail the power of Jesus' name. Let angels prostrate, prostrate, oh, let angels prostrate.
See how we got the brushes when they're done? Just wrap them up like that. And the little papers are right in that sack. Okay, let's find you something to work on. Okay, now, here's a bike over here. See the lights? You can fill it.
She's just holding her hand like almost filling it and turning on tracer, and as soon as she moves, you get this big old tracer from it.
Number on here. And they're going to have the silk screen up.
Across our back.
We'll just get a lot of footage here because this is pretty much
This is Saturday.
Get me out of here.
Oh yeah, this is working out beautiful.
Ball you're wasting. Dude.
I don't know, I'm just impatient. This is the way I am. Now, how do we like...
And it's on film. Put some. I'm good, thanks. Put some over in this bag. Ah, nice. Woo! Hey!
Oh, all right. Who else wants an orange?
Bobby needs an orange. You need an orange? Oh, Dave, way back in the back. He needs an orange. Nice catch!
The ride through town. The route's going to be, we're going to take a left right here. We're going to go all the way down Gerald. The people that are behind Adam and myself, we're going to have you peel off at any intersection. You just go to the intersection, you hold traffic if there is traffic, talk to the motorists, tell them what we're doing. We've got some coupons that I'll give you as you come by. You can give those to the motorists if they'd like one. So we're just going to hold the traffic, go through. We're going to go all the way down Gerald, across.
It's a shade of... I don't know.
It's green.
I thought you had a green bike earlier.
Yeah, I was just settling.
Tell me that.
We got here, how did we get
We were just driving by.
We were driving by and we saw it.
green bikes, we jumped out and they said, get out of
someone is. Okay.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Wow.
So that's how we're here. Interviewed. No. Yeah, no
Wow.
problem.
That's they look.
What?
Stay there, and then you wait for the chain to pass, and you just file right back. And then you fall in.
Well, we probably won't do that.
As you pull off the whole traffic, as you migrate to the front, people will peel off the whole traffic. We'll direct you where to go. You wait for the chain to pass, and you just file right back into the...
What? When we get up to the front?
As Adam and I direct you to hold like an intersection, even if it's a small intersection, we're going to send people to it. As you migrate to the front, we're going to direct people to go to an intersection and hold traffic, talk to them, give them a coupon or something that I've got up in the front basket, and then after the chain passes, you just file right back into the back. Okay? Probably won't have you filing off the whole traffic. We'll let you.
I can stop a lot of traffic.
Yeah, actually, we'll save you big. As you all hold traffic, when we direct you to go to an intersection, we'll tell you, okay, go to that road and talk to them. After the chain passes through, then you just file into the back of the line. Okay. As you hold traffic on an intersection, you wait for the whole chain to go through, then you just file into the back.
Pedal power.
Once you scoot to the next intersection, take the side.
Everybody wave. All right. Make them wave, Craig. Good job. Keep it going, everybody. All right. Woo.
Do I hear,
Run over your foot.
Army green. Army green. Yes.
Put it on 1340, will you?
You know what we should do is we should go right in the middle so everybody has to ride on either side.
Oh yeah, that's straight.
I don't know, that'd just kind of be impeding for everybody else, I think.
Just down in the middle.
Oh, this is shaky, dude, from everybody going over the bridge.
Is it?
Yeah. But not too bad.
Get a bike.
Oh, stretch into the freaking After we get this, you want to cruise back down to Karis, or do you want to just like...
We're going to be in Karis in a minute. We're going down Broadway straight to Karis.
Okay, yeah. Well, after we get this, we'll...
I don't know.
12:30.
Yeah, I'd like to get out of here soon.
Yeah.
Real soon.
Well, if they're going to be in Karis pretty soon... Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
That's where they're going right now. They're going across Broadway into Karis.
Hey, take it off and like get something else that's going that way.
No, as soon as all of them go past, I will. So you're gonna have to walk around behind me, Tom.
You're gonna take the...
Just kind of scoot under the camera. I'm just gonna turn it around, panic.
Oh.
such a good picture. Oh, you just turn it into a circle and it goes.
Well, it's locked.
Yeah.
Hey, we're heading right for her. However, I move down a little. You'll be okay, man. That's just gonna go right up close. Go in. So are those green bikes being introduced then, just today? Yeah. First day?
Bikes are easier to push.
Quinn, look in the camera. Smile.
Bob and Adam from Free Cycle Missoula, a program that has been instituted in
and let you know what's going on. Have fun and enjoy the afternoon.
Enjoy the bike.